Hello there, it's me again, and this is a quick short hiking video to let you mostly know that I'm okay. It's Sunday the 24th of May 2020, which is a sci-fi date, and yes, we're about 10 weeks into a pandemic lockdown for the COVID-19 virus, which some of you may have heard about, which frankly has ruined my holiday plans. This is not the sunny Cornish coast of Par. This is in fact Basingstoke, which is where I live. I am taking advantage of the recently relaxed lockdown rules, which now allow us to leave the house for more than 30 minutes of exercise a day for an unlimited amount of time, but we shouldn't travel far to do our exercise. So here I am. Actually, I can probably take this off. It's designed for winter trekking and there's no one in sight. So, but yes, I've been wearing that shopping to get my groceries. That's also the current latest government advice, is that we should try to wear some sort of face coverings, but not surgical masks or proper ones, because we need to keep those free for medical staff and frontline staff. Yes, if I seem a bit jokey, it's largely hysteria. This is very real. It's actually happening. It all looks so peaceful from up here, but yes. For about the past 10 to 12 weeks or so, most of us have been cowering in our homes and only leaving to go do grocery shopping. Pretty much any shop that doesn't sell essential things, which is largely food, medicines and such like, have been closed. All pubs, cafes, restaurants, etc. Most businesses. Anyone who can't work from home has been furloughed under a massive government repayment scheme. I mean, this is a document of our times, if nothing else. Forget hiking video. I do use these as a sort of diary of my own. You know, whether or not you there out on YouTube find them interesting or not, that is also a bonus. And yeah, this southwest coast path, I've kind of gotten used to planning my holidays like 3 or 4 years in advance. Yeah, back in September 2017 when I started all this, I didn't really think about what if the entire country closes for a lockdown. So yeah, there we go. And you'd think my southwest coast path endeavours would actually be rather immune to. It's a lockdown. It's a form of social distancing. Social distancing is the big phrase these days. By the end of all this, we'll have a very crystal clear visualisation of exactly what 2 metres distance looks like, because it's all supermarkets with stripy tape on the floors everywhere now. And supermarket checkouts with massive perspex screens, like you're in a bank or something. That's the age we live in. That is the time. Oh, let's go for wide zoom. See if I remember how all this stuff works. There we go, look at that. So yeah, I'm a field on a footpath on a hill overlooking Basingstoke. And so my plan today is to try and hike 12 miles with a very light backpack, because I've done no hiking whatsoever in the last 12 weeks. So last week or the week before, roughly, I would have been doing my Coast Path May week, but obviously no chance to do that because I'd have to use a train. Public transport's generally frowned on in this day and age at the moment. I'd have to use campsites or bed and breakfasts, all of which are shut, and of course I do like frequenting cafes and pubs along the route, and none of those would have been open either. I don't really fancy the idea of a proper ultra survival week on the southwest coast path where I have to carry all my rations and water with me everywhere. So yeah, and I did basically no training in the lead up because, you know, stuck at home for 10 weeks. So today is probably the first time I've left the house for a significant duration in about 3 months. That did involve just going to get some food and then scurrying back home again. I mean, look how green it is. I totally missed spring this year. Oh, people coming up behind me. Okay, still haven't got used to that. Social distancing, that's an excuse now. I have to keep at least 2 miles between me and any other person. Anyway, I'll talk to you more some later. God, look how green everything is. It's astonishing. Last time I was out here, this was all sticks. Yes, I know, every year it does this, but I totally missed spring this year because of, you know, reasons ongoing. And it's just suddenly green everywhere. It's like, you know, like I've been in cryo sleep or something, suspended animation. And it's magnificent. hunger is the best sauce, as they say. I've really not been hiking in a very long time. I did about I got new boots after last time. I think some of you may remember me bitching about blisters again last bit of coast path. It's because I'd worn through the back heel of the boot in the end, so I got new boots. I thought I'll try some ultra high-tech internet recommended boots that are full of like modern carbon fibre or doohickeys or widgets or whatever. Unfortunately, so I got some Salomon Quest 4Ds after a great number of positive internet reviews. Only to find that they only sell them in half sizes, so I got 12.5s, and it took me 3 hikes to realise that no, my feet are really 13s. Can't get away with 12.5s. I can get away with 12.5s in shoes and slippers and things, but hiking boots, no. So that was quite unpleasant. But yeah, there was a little bit of minor winter hiking just to keep the legs in condition, and then all this went off. All this COVID. It's bloody annoying. But yeah, I can understand. It's my petty concerns are not really worth bearing in mind. So anyway, after all that mucking about, I went and had a proper boot fitting, went and talked to some actual people, because I don't like people. So yeah, this is again before we were not allowed to talk to people anymore. And now I'm rocking up in proper old school. Now, let me change that. There we go, look at that. These are Scarpa Ranger GTXs, apparently, and in 13s, of course. 13, yep. And they're very comfortable. And I did about two sort of short winter hikes around this kind of area, and found them perfectly agreeable. And then I was all set to begin my hardening in, my training for the coast path. I usually do one a weekend for the 4 or 5 weekends leading up to the actual week, just to toughen the feet up a little bit. But no, suddenly bang! Do not leave your homes. Only go out for shopping. Do not meet friends, family or loved ones. Do not go to work if you can possibly avoid it. I work in software QA, and during the week, I think before this all kicked off, we saw it coming a little bit and decided to start bringing our work laptops home. And there's a VPN and there's all sorts of internet connections and so on. And so actually I've been one of the few who've been largely unaffected in a work-related capacity by all this thing. We're all working from home now. We're all using our work has a Discord channel, so we can keep in touch and collaborate and things. And it's generally going all right. In fact, I think by some metrics, according to our upper management echelons, our productivity has increased, which I suppose means that a lot of CEOs and stuff people are going to be thinking, do we really need to pay for this office after all? Maybe working from home is the new future. I always thought we'd be doing more working from home by now, to be honest. The 2020s would all be telecommuting. We wouldn't have to sit in a car every day for like an hour each way, just so we can sit in an ugly, outdated office building and talk to other people. But I kind of miss the collaboration a bit. But yeah, so there we go. And I've been just basically making furtive scurries out to the very nearest supermarket very, very late in the evening, and even then we're having to queue outside in the car park. Most people will be familiar with supermarket car park queues from this era. The disconsolate sight. I mean, fortunately, there's been some really good weather lately. Not much in the way of awful downpours that we have to sit in the car park for. But I think the good weather's just been sort of taunting a lot of people, to be honest. There's been a lot of stern government briefings about please don't go to the park and have picnics. This is a serious, major world health emergency. Yeah, so it's strange times. It's weird. I mean, I don't know. Still processing it in some ways. It's absolutely unlike anything that's ever occurred in my life before, and it's happening on a worldwide scale, and it's going to change our society forever. I mean, they're thinking it will be 2021 before their large-scale production of a vaccine is available generally. So that, it's only May now, so we've got the rest of this year, probably another 7 months of having to stay more than 2 meters away from people and having to wear bandit masks when you go shopping. And this is the new normal. Everyone keeps talking about what is the new normal now. The new normal is the new normal. That's the phrase. I don't know. It just blows my mind. I grew up during the Cold War, I suppose, the late stages of the Cold War in the 80s, I suppose, and Thatcher and Reagan and all that. And that was a sort of background thrill of world politics and stuff. But I think there's been nothing really of this scale in my lifetime. You'd have to go back to like the Second World War or something before you came across something that affected British society in quite such a fundamental way. And there's a thrill of excitement. It's wrong, I feel bad, but it's interesting. You know, may you live in interesting times, they say. This is going on. This is happening. It's real, and it's exciting. You know, in a sort of unnerving kind of way, not in a good way. But can't deny that it's different. Things are different now. Kind of wish I would go back to the way they're normal. Like I say, my own life, I suppose I'm quite a bit of a hermit, a bit of a social distancer by nature anyway. So it hasn't affected me an awful lot, but it affects everyone in concrete ways. So yeah. Anyway, I'll probably rant on about that all day, I expect, given half the chance. But today, a bit of a light hike. I think probably about 12 miles or so, 12, 13, 14, something like that, across very forgiving terrain. It's all like this, just gently undulating hillside of the North Hampshire, touched sort of the eastern end of the North Hampshire Downs. And it's fine weather. It's going to be like this all day, really. Sort of high streaks of cloud, occasional puffy cloud, bit of overcast. But I had to put sunblock on just to, because basically I haven't been in direct sunlight for 3 months. So frankly, I'm surprised I haven't already burnt, and I've only been going half an hour. So hello, is there something else? Someone on the horizon. Social distance. That's close enough, buddy. Can still see you. I can only just see you in a 10 times zoom. That's perfect. Just stay there. Actually, I think he's coming this way. All right. There'll be that head down pass on the other side of the path type thing. Anyway, I'm going to keep walking for a bit and speak to you again soon. There we go. Just in case you think I'm just making this all up for humorous and dramatic effect. So this is the churchyard of the village of Wootton St Lawrence, a village invented by P.G. Wodehouse prior to the First World War. Lovely, calm, tranquil, a little bit morbid under the circumstances, all like the step pyramid. Yeah. A quite English country church on a Sunday and utterly closed. Has been for the last 3 months probably. Places of worship, schools have all been closed, causing no end of consternation to some of my work colleagues who have small children and families. They're having to supervise them all at home and try and keep some kind of semblance of learning and education on the go, at least at the same time as doing their work remotely as well. It's all rather busy. Yes, gosh. What to say about it all? I think it's the most remarkable thing is how well everything's holding together. You watch all these zombie horror survival films and the apocalypse, reload of George Orwell books and John Wyndham and all the rest of it, and you think, God, everything's going to go completely mad the first time anything bad happens, because we're all savages deep down and can't cope and all that. And as it turned out, we were all really good about it. Everyone was civilised, everyone did the sensible thing, everyone pulled together. It's all still going, we're not out of the woods yet, of course. About 300 people a day are dying in the UK. The global figures are much bigger, obviously. I think everyone's worried about Latin America at the moment. They're sort of somewhat behind where we were some months ago. I guess, there'll be far better historical accountings of this time than this stupid hiking video, but just put some things out there. Apparently it started in China, in the province of Wuhan, traced to a live animal market, people were thinking, although there's obviously all sorts of conspiracy theories about it being developed in a weapons lab, etc, etc. I don't think it really matters, to be honest. But yeah, it turns out everyone didn't go looting on day one. Everyone didn't join murder cannibal June buggy cults straight away, Most people are hankering down and getting on with it. Everyone's talking about the R number. That's the thing. The R number. It's over here. It's the number of people that you're likely to retransmit the disease to once you've got it yourself over some given period of time, I guess, on average. And the idea is to keep that R number below 1, which means you're sort of geometrically decreasing, not increasing the rate. Abandoned playground. Sign of our times. what's that, some gamekeeper or something? I mean, business goes on, people are largely getting on with their jobs and lives where possible, social distance and stuff. But yes, this R number, if that goes above 1, then we're screwed, because it basically means you get a geometrical progression of cases. And the idea, I think the big government plan at the moment is just to stop the NHS collapsing under the sudden spike in demand and pressure and requirement of it all. So that's what the lockdown's all about, mostly. It isn't about curing it or waiting for it all to go away. It doesn't. That's the worrying thing, I think. So that there's no cure and not much in the way of treatment yet. You know, everyone talks about ventilators, but you know, that's a bit hit and miss. It's not something you'd want to go through voluntarily. So everyone's desperate to try not to catch the thing in the first place. I think it's about the best remedial measure. I've been right so far, I think. I don't know, I had a cold about the time, just the same week. Yeah, I remember, because I took the day off the day before the office shut and everyone went home, took their laptops home anyway. So just at the start of that, about 10 weeks ago, I had a cold. It felt like a normal cold to me, normal symptoms. There was no fever, there was no loss of smell or any of the sort of more advanced symptoms of COVID-19. And of course, you know, normal colds are still doing the rounds as well, and normal flu still kills people as well. So I think I probably had that coincidentally at the time, but I thought I better self-isolate. But and that went away and I'm all right now, but I don't think I've had the thing. But then no one knows, because the testing's a problem. Government are trying to reach this 100,000 people tested a day, or 10,000 people tested a day, I can't remember what the exact number is. And the testing just tells you if you've had it or not, because at the moment we just don't even know how far it's spread and where it is. And of course, you know, a lot of people are going to associate having had it with some sort of stigma and not present themselves to any kind of testing station for fear of being some sort of pariahs. So there's a lot of unknowns about it all. So I guess the lockdown is a bit of a sledgehammer to crack a walnut, but in the absence of anything else, you just don't know. So yeah, there we are. Anyway, enough of that. Let's talk hiking. It's going to be time for a map stop. I have bought a map because, which I totally don't need. I know this area really well. I'm out and about here lots of weekends, just, you know, without a map and without a care. But it's just some of the maps you sort of bring along, I think, sometimes. Even if you know where you're going, because the map shows you what's over the hills to the sides, which you may or may not have actually researched. So there it is. Not the map I would be hoped to be showing you at this point in the year. No coastline there at all. There's Basingstoke in the middle. I'm sort of heading out somewhere. I'm basically doing a massive loop around Oakley there. Big 12-mile loop in a sort of anti-clockwise fashion. And then just looping back to Basingstoke again so I can go home without having to get a bus or a train, which are a big no-no at the moment. I mean, you can if you absolutely need to, but, you know, that's where other people are, and other people are really not in fashion at the moment. So let's have a little look, see. Don't imagine any of this is going to make any sense to anyone, because it's just not famous coastlines or anything. So there we go. So yeah, we are in Wootton St Lawrence, which is a real name. There it is. I'm in the churchyard. See the little black circle with the cross on the top, square. It's a square, isn't it? Steeples and towers, stuff like that. I forget exactly. I learned all that in the Scouts and have forgotten it. Anyway, so basically we're going to go out across here, down to this forest here, Mulshanger House. Go do a bit of loop around there. Then we're cutting across to White Lane over here, and then this sort of diamond thing is the Wayfarer's Way, Wayfarer's Walk. Now, I suppose if you saw me doing the South Downs, first week of the South Downs trek during the winter that couple of years back, you'll notice this thing crossed it. This is further north than that was. Yeah, so I'll be following the dotted diamonds for a little way along there. So the Wayfarer's Way, about 100 miles long, connects to the south coast somewhere around Emsworth, I think, Chichester sort of way, up to, I don't know where the north end of it is actually, but not relevant, we're only going to be on it a short way. So that's Oakley, got a sort of big little overspill village from Basingstoke. We're going to just follow the Wayfarer's Way all the way across a couple of train lines through a place called Dean. See, our electoral district is called Basingstoke and Dean, and I think they named it after Basingstoke being the biggest place and Dean being the smallest place, and it is a tiny little hamlet which you shall pass through quickly and without breathing near anyone. And then along here, across another railway, then basically along the south of Oakley here, and then just zigzag back up here to rejoin the path that we started earlier today. So yeah, nothing particularly spectacular or interesting, but there's a couple of interesting bits and pieces along the way. And you know how these trips go. You look over a hedge you've never looked over before, and you see all sorts of weirdness. So yeah, good. I brought a sandwich because traditionally the halfway through pub lunch is not going to be an option today because no pubs, possibly ever again. And yet I find myself drinking a lot more these days. There's not much else to do. I eat too much and drink too much because, you know, if your only big excursion of a week is to get your groceries shopping, you tend to vent all of your frustration on the checkout there. So I put a bit of weight on since last we spoke, which I shall probably have to try and lose again before I go hiking in earnest in Cornwall. Because that week that I would have been doing about now is 100 miles. It was going to be the longest stage of my entire Southwest Coast Path trek, and I'm in no real condition to do it at the moment. So, you know, one thing follows another. So yeah, that's the plan for today anyway. Let's crack on and do a bit more. I think I'm getting a bit hay fever coming on as well. I don't need that as on top of everything else. So, lovely day for it. Nature abides. Nature don't care. Look at that. Last time I came through here, it's like February or so, January, February time. This is all just like little sprigs of grass about 2 centimetres long. Now look at it. I think it's barley. Barley tends to have the quite sort of wispy grass-like, feathery, sticky outy bits on the top. Don't know. I can usually spot corn. Corn's got much larger and sort of coarser buds, ears, if you whatever you want to call them. The sort of actual grain part. I think this is some sort of barley, yeah. It's got much more of a sort of feathery appearance along the very tops. I guess you'd be using that for industrial beer brewing, whatever the word is. I'm a terrible country guide, I really am. I bought an excellent book over winter I was reading, trying to read. It's The Walker's Guide to Outdoor Signs by Tristan Gooley. You can find that probably anywhere, your nearest local Amazon. And it's fantastic. It is absolutely chock full of ways of looking at the landscape to determine weather mostly, and clues about where you are and which way you should go, that kind of thing. Trouble is, it's so densely packed. It's like there's about 800. Boasts about 800 signs in it, and it's all in sort of really sort of quite amiable prose type style. It's not just, you know, a textbook, but it's quite hard to absorb that much information in one go. So, sort of thing you have to read again and again. Sort of thing I would have otherwise been reading on the train on the way to Cornwall. There you go. Is that someone coming up behind me? Gosh. Can't blame people for wanting to get out on a day like this. But you got to keep apart, keep away. Anyway, lovely. Here we are. Well, I don't know where here is. I do actually. That's a big old country house there. That's called Tangier Park, according to the sign at the front there. Just walking along the outside bounds of the estate. Don't know if it's a privately owned house or a conference centre or a hotel. These things often are. Who knows? None of my business. Sheep grazing and hiding under the tree there in the cool. Yeah, it's all the same to them. Well, I assume so. Bear in mind this whole thing did get cross-species transmitted from like a snake or something in a market in China, so it's entirely possible it could become sheep-born or cow-born, this COVID thing. Cross-species transmission does seem to be part of its MO. Stop going on about it, Tim. Enjoy this splendid oak. Look at that. Is that an oak? I have to check now. I think it's an oak. Let's get close enough to see one of the leaves. This is like a sort of plantation sort of row along the edge of this estate here. See the stable block. You know you've made it when you've got a stable block. That's probably just flats. Just having a stable block though. That's aspirational for you. Let's have a look at these leaves. Yeah, oh, I don't know. They don't look oak leafy. That might be more ash or something. They're big though. See, this is exactly the kind of country law I don't know and should know and thought I could learn from a book but didn't bother to actually read. Anyway, answers on a postcard. Number 6, the larch. Yeah, how are you all doing? Obviously I can't hear an answer because this isn't a two-way conversation, but hope you're all well. Hope you've been doing awesome things. That's the right zoom, isn't it? There we go, I'm a bit less scary now. I'm really enjoying this. This has just been the tonic. I mean, I tell you, if all else fails, COVID-wise, there's nothing a good long walk in the countryside on your own can't fix. And that's eminently practical and doable for almost everyone except someone who lives perhaps in the centre of London or something. In which case, there are some quite large parks there. But yeah, just get out, walk it off. I really miss this. I can't explain in words how much. It becomes a reticence, really. I suppose I could have done it at any time. Could have broken quarantine lockdown laws and spent more than half an hour out here. But you feel like you want to do your part. You want to. It only works if everyone cooperates, you know, these measures. But yeah, for the last 2 weeks or so, I think we've been allowed to actually go out long distance hiking, as long as you keep your social distance bubble or whatever it is. It's weird, the rules as they stand presently allow you to meet one of your parents but not both of them. You're not allowed to meet more than one person from the same household at the same place. It's like one person and one other person 2 meters apart in a public place or whatever. Yeah. God, stop banging on about it, Tim. Enjoy it. Enjoy the cowslips. Here we go. These are cowslips, I believe. Starting to bloom out with the white. Do you see a lot more long grass and slightly more unkempt verges and things these days? Again, you know, people not able to go out to work to mow it all. Bit of a resurgence in wildlife. I'm definitely hearing a lot more birds these days. Just out the windows. One particularly annoying cuckoo, just won't shut up. Cuckoo? No, pigeon. Yeah, it's a pigeon, I think. Very irritating. But yeah. I read an interesting thing the other day about how air pollution levels are the lowest on record at present. Which goes to show there's almost no cars on the roads these days. It's like every day's a Sunday afternoon. Except for that's absolutely great for the occasional boy racer. You can hear them tearing around the ring road and around town and stuff. No one else on the roads. You can hear them dropping the hammer from like about 2 or 3 miles away. Opportunities arise for everyone. Yeah. Right, time for a water stop. I've got my usual small day bag with me today. Standard sort of thing. I mean, I'm less than 5 miles from my house at present, but I still have a litre of water, a first aid kit, a whistle, a compass, spare bootlaces, various plasters and such like. Lights in case they melt very late, although I think it's about about 12 past 9, I think, in the evening, sunset today. But yeah, and the map as well. My anorak, probably not going to need it today, but you know, useful thing to have. So yeah, accidents can happen even in the most familiar terrain. In fact, more so. You get complacent, you relax too much. Oh, nothing can go wrong out here. It can go wrong anywhere, trust me. So yeah, I'm going to have a sit in a bit of water, chill out for a bit, enjoy the view. Ominous crows are ominous. I think they make that noise all the time. It's not like, you know, disease or carrion related. So I wanted to show you this. There we go. So I came through here in December and February and whatever, and these trees are all bare, obviously, and I still don't know what breed they are. Beech, maybe? Take another stab. I'll try beech for 10, I think. But yes, there. You can see sort of darker bundles, balls. Those were there and green all year round, winter. That's mistletoe. That's mistletoe in its natural environment. It is a parasite. It sort of fuses itself into the branch, high up in trees like this one. I don't know what if they prefer a particular breed of tree or whatever, but it actually grows into the tree, into the bark stump there. I mean, they aren't generally low enough for me to see. There was one, I actually did see a whole fallen branch with one attached to it earlier last time. I'll have a look and see if I can see it. But yeah, basically it sends tendrils into the wood of its host tree and then takes nutrients straight out of the sap. Grows in a big ball on the top there, out of reach of grazing predators or whatever. Quite pernicious, I suppose, if you're a estate manager or forester. probably don't want that kind of stuff sucking the life out of your trees. It's like a vampire shrub it is. But then people just think, oh yeah, kisses at Christmas. Little do they understand the ironically true metaphor of how parasitical the mistletoe is. Anyway, that's a whole load of bitterness that we don't need on a sunny day like this. Still trooping along, still along the edge of this Tangier Park thing. I'm going to head into Mulshanger Woods next. It's a bit more sylvan, I think. That'll be good. I wonder if I can see, I'll see if I can see that any fallen mistletoe, so you can see up close where it joins onto the bark. It's quite interesting. Oh, sneeze coming. Here we go. Right, so look. So this is a fallen branch. It's quite a windy storm a few months back, whatever. It's snapped off of one of the big trees above us. Probably this one here with the dead bits all over it. See the mistletoe up the top as well. And this has taken the mistletoe off with it. And you can see the mistletoe. It's got the this one's dead because obviously its host branch is also dead, but you see they've got the yellowy bits here, that's the mistletoe. And you can see just right in here where this thing's, try and zoom in a bit. You can see where it's actually sort of fused itself into the host branch. You can see the sort of faint lines where the host branch ends and the mistletoe begins. It's really dug right in there. I don't know if I can snap a piece out. Probably not, no. It's really hard in there. But yeah, there you go. It's not just like, casually drifted on top and is just growing there happily on its own. It's really dug in and absorbing the life out of the tree. Vampire shrub. That one's dead, so it hasn't got the leaves and the berries like you'd imagine. But yeah, those up there. Let's try a bit of a zoom. Very much alive. And the irony of it all is they keep going all year round. They're evergreen, essentially. Whereas the tree loses its leaves and goes into dormancy in the winter, and it's still having to provide water for its freeloading parasites. Yeah. And there you go, Christmas kisses. Ruined for you forever. Very typical scenery for this region here. Highly managed woodlands. Light leafy canopy, but nothing too dense, apart from the rhododendrons, which seem to just go crazy wherever you put them. But yes, you can tell, because if you walk along, look down the sides as you go, there, trees lined up there, then a little bit further, there's a line, a little bit further, there's a line. They're all in rows. Nature doesn't do that. Nature doesn't do rows. Man does rows. Yeah. Everything around here belongs to someone. There is no wilderness where I live. But it's enough. It's good enough. Just the green of it all. It's good to be out. Anyway, I think we're coming to the end of this forest, down to that road there, across the farmyard, and then onward to more things. Now, just fell on me. What's that? I think the forest wants me to leave. Yeah. Small airstrip here, as you do. Used heavily by the resistance during the war. No, I'm making that up. Obviously the resistance weren't in the UK because that wasn't occupied. No, this according to Google, this is the Basingstoke Aero Modelling Club's site. Although I've been here passed here a few times and I've never seen anybody using it, so. But yeah, so one would imagine they run little model aircraft up and off this little airstrip here. Fly around it a bit, land them again. Yeah, don't know. It's all drones nowadays anyway. Alright, so we're basically going to head through those forests up the other side of that hill over there, and then over on the far side of that very distant chalk field there is the Wayfarer's Way. It starts on the right, follows the tree line all the way along, so that's where we're basically heading to. Making good time. I have no idea what time it is. I don't have a schedule, and to be honest, I'm never going to be more than about 8 miles away from my house at any point today, so it does take the pressure off rather. I don't have to be anywhere particularly at any particular time, so yeah, I think it's like 11:30 or something. It's like about 8 hours in hand, so as long as I can manage to achieve 1 mile an hour for the rest of the day, I think I'll be alright. Good, let's move on. Oh, nice. Daisies, I think, oxeye daisies, possibly. Typically grown as wildflower, sort of set aside. I guess they've done this on purpose, left this all to go. See a lot of poppies dotted in here. Now, when you come through here in autumn, this whole field is awash with red. It's like a Somme or something. It's quite a sight. And you can see a few early ones here and there. But yeah, quite magnificent in autumn. Changing landscape, see? You can even though you've got like an unremarkable local loop that you do, it changes all throughout the year. Giving you different vistas. Worth revisiting. I try not to do the same hike over and over, but I make an exception for this sort of area because it's a good little route that I know well. Don't have to think about too much, and it is different every time you do it, in small, subtle ways. Yeah, look at all that. It's like sea froth churning. Actually, it's all quite static. The wind's dropped quite a bit now. Yeah. Big rolling arable landscape. It's very, very typical of the region. Yeah. This is home for me. This is what I grew up looking at all my life. This kind of thing, this kind of landscape. So I find places like Cornwall so exotic, or Dartmoor or whatever, just sufficiently different. Yes, I grew up in the Shire. I am a hobbit. Good. Is that an oak? No. Bark's too light. Some sort of beech? Who knows? No one knows. That's what I like about this area. Nice gentle hills. I had to climb 3,000 steps just after breakfast, you know. Although the views aren't quite as spectacular. It's good though. It's not bad. So I go off through there next, down a little single track road with some grass growing down the middle, my favourite sort. So I don't know what this is. I want to say late sown wheat, probably for bread production. I looked this up once. I was curious, did a bit of research, a bit of maths. So I think, according to various wiki research I did, I worked out that it takes 1 square metre of wheat to produce enough flour to make a loaf of bread. Loaf of bread being about 2,000 calories or so, enough to feed a man for a day. Of course, modern bread has all sorts of vitamins and minerals added to it. I suppose if you were just doing it naturally, you wouldn't get any of that, so you'd probably still die of scurvy and rickets. But calorifically, so 2 square metres is about this sort of rectangle here. So from this sort of tram line here, the tractor marks are about 1 metre apart, give or take. So if we go in a bit, probably from about here to the edge, in between these two tractor marks. That's so as they say, 1 metre, square metre to make a loaf of bread, but that assumes a modern industrial fertilisers and an agrichem industry to back you up. If you haven't got that, I reckon 2 metres probably. So yeah, that is probably from roughly where I'm standing here to the edge of the field within those 2 tram lines each. So that will make 1 loaf of bread, which will feed a man for a day. Now, I don't even want to hazard a guess at the area, or acreage or hectareage of this particular field. You'd need to go and look it up on Google Maps or whatever, if you can work out where precisely I am. But of course you can't. You need bread every day, 2,000 calories every day. So you would need 365 plots, roughly that sort of rectangular shape, to feed you. If you've got a codependent, a wife, a husband, then you'd need to double that again. And children as well, probably need a bit less calories, but even so. So yeah, so when you think about subsistence farming, and sometimes I hanker back to a simpler age, you know, it's just utterly impossible nowadays. Because every single one of us would need to be out there farming all year round, without chemicals, without pesticides. An area probably, I don't know, most to the left of that tractor line running along, that might keep you alive for a year, double it again for family and so on. And there's not enough land, if nothing else, to feed the number of people that exist now. So yeah, so that's when I thought that's when I sort of gave up on the idea of wilderness breakout, you know, survivalist sort of thing, because we're just not adapted for it anymore. Our society doesn't work like that. Which goes some way to explain why everybody was, at the end of the day, so civilised and cooperative about our COVID-19 lockdown rules and stuff. I think deep down everyone knows that you can't just disappear, become an island and live entirely independent and off the grid anymore. There's no wildlife or game out here. There's a few deer here and there, but they'd be hunted to extinction within weeks if everything broke down. You can't live off rabbit, that's a scientific medical fact. You die. You haven't got all the missing a whole load of nutrients you need. All the livestock will be eaten within weeks. So yeah, generally the best philosophy I think is to cooperate and fix what we have. Anyway, it might not even be wheat. Who knows? It looks like wheat. It's got quite roundish stems, quite broadish leaves, no sign of the feathering, and it's quite early on as well. It's not grown very far, so I reckon that was planted in spring rather than last autumn, like some of the taller stuff we've seen. God, I keep seeing people on the horizon. Everybody out hiking today. And that's fine. That's cool. Everyone should be out hiking, I think. It's certainly helping keep me sane. Ugh. Alright, onward. I don't know if you can hear this. You probably can't because of the mic's quite good local thing only, but that branch up there, covered in bees. I think they've got some kind of swarming or hive thing going on there. Look at that. So I hear it. I can hear it anyway. Probably not going to poke it with a stick. But because there's a whole load of hives in the edge of the field over there. I don't know if you can get control of my zoom enough to be able to show you in detail. As you can imagine, I don't want to get too close. But yeah, you can sort of see through the hedge there, a whole load of hives. Some more enlightened, modern, environmentally aware farming. Because of course everyone needs pollinators, otherwise your seeds and fruits don't grow. This has been a real problem in this modern agri-chem age. So more and more farmers, I suppose, are setting up hives. It's good. And this field here, now this is a problem because there's hedges in the way, is actually lavender, I think. If we can just, out nettles, out nettles, there we go. Zoom in. Rows and rows of lavender, like you see in Provence. It's a bit early in the year for it to be flowering yet. That's the sort of low green bush stage. But again, come through here in early autumn, that's quite a sight. You can see it better from the hillside on the far side. I'll try and have a look back across the road when we get down there, but that's quite something. It's like the southern fields of Provence, all purple and in really orderly rows. See postcards of that kind of thing from Provence. They've got some of it here. Some sort of diversification, presumably they're harvesting it and selling it off to perfume manufacturers and whatever. Diversification, that's the key. Yeah, sure, you can just grow wheat as far as the mind can imagine, but what happens if the wheat market goes weird? And all markets have gone weird at the moment. What happens if you get wheat blight, which I don't even know if is a thing? Grow lots of different stuff. A few cash crops don't go amiss. Yeah, splendid. Yeah, so I'm just walking down the middle of the road now, and even normal times this is pretty deserted, so not too worried. I can always throw myself in the stinging nettles if I need to. Sometimes I do that just for fun. So let's crack on down to the crossroads there, and then up the other side. The road goes ever on and on. Yeah, there you go. So that's what I see on the far side. Sort of parallel grooves, lines there. There's a riot of heady fragrance and purple colour in the autumn. So nature doesn't follow my whims and clock. It does what it wants. A whole load of people down there on the bench I was going to sit on bikes, and they don't look like they're 2 metres apart. Although cycling is apparently one of the sports that's okay to do in company, because the bike itself puts a bit of distance between you and your next person. Yeah. Splendid. Yeah. Audi TT discovering the road has run out. So yes, this is the Wayfarer's Way, our bridle way. That means horses and mountain bikes, but you know, not many people are out today anyway. That's the unique symbol. No acorns this trip. Shame. So yes, up and away along here for quite some time. A couple of railways to cross and then we'll loop back round. Somewhere along here, probably lunchtime. Got a sandwich, good to go. Yeah, lunch break. Found a nice shady tree in the middle of this meandering plains-based footpath there. And look, the leaf shapes. It's an oak. Definitely sure now. That's definitely oak leaves. Hurrah! Got a sandwich. It's a Aldi sandwich and an M&S carrier bag, which I think sums up my life pretty much. It's nice here though. Nice bit of a breeze. I mean, it says phone says it's 19 degrees today, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess. So I've not really left the flat in like 3 months, so hard to tell, but just by personal experience. Yeah, so let's have a quick look at the map. I know where I am, of course. I mean, the phone says I'm in Tadley, but that's completely wrong, so I don't know what cell it's picking up from, whatever. But I am north of Oakley. I'm about here. One of those little diamonds on the plain bit just out of the forest before it hives off up ahead. Cuts across that field diagonally, I think. So, yeah, about halfway around, I think. Let's see, where do we go? Started coming into Wootton St Lawrence off of there. Basingstoke's just the other side of the page. Can't be bothered to unfold it. And then along here, past the country house thing, along there, all along there, down the road, and up to here. We're going to continue south off this dotted line, and then we'll come down here, cross the railway, cut into Dean, then cross along here, cross another railway. So that's the Exeter line. That's London Waterloo to Exeter St David's along there, Salisbury. That's London Waterloo to Southampton. That one goes through Winchester, and it sort of forks just here. And I think we're going to actually pass. See, we're going to come along here, and we'll go up here and pass the junction where the two split. And there's a barrow there apparently. White Barrow. I'll have to go and have a look at that, see what we can see when we get there. Lots of beer glasses around the map, none of which we're going to visit because they're all closed, which is a bit of a shame. Did quite like a nice pub lunch on one of these trips, but there you go. A pleasure denied. Got a sandwich instead now. It's chicken and bacon club triple with mayonnaise. That'll do me for the day, I think. Plenty of water. Good to go. And then I shall have to just get drunk when I get home instead. That's nice though. Nice cooling breeze, bit of shade. No sign of any kind of weather ructions. It was really windy yesterday. There was a bit of a storm yesterday, and sudden bursts of torrential rain blatting on my window at home. But then it would go away and it would be all shut. So it's all sunny again, but constant strong winds. I've been looking at the weather all last week, trying to work out what I would have had to put up with on the coast path. I think the week before last week there was some pretty hefty sort of 40-mile-an-hour winds sort of blowing off of what would have been the cliff face, flowing up towards the north. So perhaps I dodged a bullet there. Yeah, good times. Right, I'm going to eat and sit for a bit, and then we'll resume heading off over there. Yeah. People jogging along there in the distance, dogs. It's the dog walking that seems to have to keep going. I mean, you can take or leave exercise on your own part, but how do you explain to an animal that you can't go out of the house anymore? You just have to take them anyway. I think this is corn. You can see some of the much fatter ears poking through there. Also, it's got a much bluer sort of tinge to the leaves. Yeah, right, onwards. We can just Finished my lunch break, time to keep moving. Seen about 3 or 4 different people on this path already, and 2 mountain bikes. But everyone's giving each other a very wide berth, which I'm not finding disagreeable. So yeah, so we need to cut across that field next. Let's do it. Yeah, good. Still on the path. Still not lost, you know, less than 5 miles from home. Well, 5 or 6, I suppose. Remember, 2 meters distance. Stay back. So last time we came through here, this was an absolute quagmire. We lost a boot. So just up here, I think it's the railway. The first of our 2 railways for today. And we're crossing both of them back the other way as well. So there's 4 railway crossings to do today. That's just, let's face it, not nearly as exciting as a river crossing on a Cornish coast, but take what you can get, really, don't you? So just up here should be the footbridge. We can see how busy the London Waterloo to Exeter St David's line is today. I mean, Sunday it's usually quite quiet anyway, engineering works, etc. But I mean, trains are still running. I've seen and heard them, but a lot less than usual. And of course, all the reports you see of photos and videos sent into BBC News live update corona thingy tend to show that social distancing is pretty much impossible on these railways. Underground stations at the moment, so all the more reason to only travel if you absolutely need to. And of course, there's me, would have had to have been a 4-hour journey each way this week on what's usually a very crowded holiday train. Yeah. Diesel only, no electrification here. Just the 2 rails, no overhead. And yeah, nothing. I thought I heard a train in the distance just after striking out after lunch, but haven't heard anything since. Yeah, not much call for it, I shouldn't think. Travel to foreign cities and distant destinations is very much discouraged at the moment. There's all sorts of political scandals going on right now about special advisors to the government taking unnecessary 200-mile round trips to go and see family, and that's pretty much exactly what they've told us we shouldn't be doing at the moment. So yeah, stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives. That was the big slogan. For you future archaeologists decoding this data stream in the year 3721. How effective it was, well, that remains to be seen. Still in the middle of it at the moment, you know. Yeah, I don't think I can still hear that. Just been buzzed by a trio of motorbikes. Why not? Social distance of a sort, I suppose. This is the church at Dean. There were some houses over there. It was quite small, as advertised. Don't know if it's the smallest place in the district, but I suppose you can't keep renaming the entire district every time someone knocks down or builds a house, so, you know. It was probably the smallest at one point. Yeah, but lovely, charming. That sort of black wrought iron fencing along the immaculately maintained meadow. Very nice. Another graveyard. Trying not to focus on those at the moment. Or with, you know, one thing and another. Hey, do you remember Brexit? Gosh, I was agonising about that last time I did one of these. It just goes to show there's always something worse. I imagine the September hiking videos that were me complaining about hiding in the shattered ruins from the death patrols of Emperor Ming the Merciless and his interplanetary invaders. So it can always be worse. So I go down there, down to the main road, and then on. Doing well. I don't know, no idea on the mileage so far. 6, 7, something like that. Not a lot in the grand scheme of it all, but bear in mind my feet are all soft. I don't even wear shoes most days, you know. I live in slippers nowadays. I mean, I put clothes on before I attend my working from home work. Obviously, I'm not going full Arthur Dent on it all, but yeah. But my feet have probably softened up considerably, rather than being the tough old moccasins made flesh that I normally expect around this time of the year. So we'll see how we go. But certainly the heel chafing's not a problem. These boots are definitely the right ones. These are good. It's just the size rather than the manufacturer. I'm sure Salomon Quest 4Ds are very good if you do happen to have 12.5 feet, but I don't. And they only do that in 13.5, and I think half size too big means they're just going to flop about as well. So 13s, it's good. Scarpa Ranger GTX, whatever. It's not an endorsement, no one pays me for this stuff, but they work for me. You might find similar. What I did learn is that it pays to actually go to the shop and try a few on, and even talk to an expert about lacing techniques and things, because I did learn a lot about surgeon's knots and how to lace them right, which apparently I'd not been doing at all. That seems to have helped, so yeah. So, yeah, let's move on. Poor buggers. Came through here in November and it had only just opened. Massive refit renovations. The old pub there that had been closed for years after a car went through the front of the lounge area. But someone had obviously bought it, done it up, tried to turn it into some kind of gastropub. There was people in there. I remember coming past and thinking, oh, I must give that a go. And then about 2-3 months later, closed indefinitely. No exceptions, no buts, no ifs. It'd be a miracle if it might open again, who knows. Tough break. So many pubs and restaurants are going to go to the wall over the next couple of months, because there's not going to be any kind of normal in the next foreseeable few months. I mean, I'm wondering about the September hiking trip, to be honest. I mean, my hiking trips typically involve a lot of cafes and pubs and B&Bs. If they are all still required by government lockdown regulations to not be open at all, in any shape or form, basically places where people gather socially are all closed. If there's not any kind of resumption of normal service, I mean, when I find a coast path pub, I will typically sit on the furthest trestle table away from the bar out on the coast, because usually at that point I've adapted to outdoor life and find indoors a bit stuffy. But if it's not open at all, it's going to make for a much more austere and Bear Grylls style coast path trip, which really isn't the point for me. But yeah, I mean, pubs were going to the wall left and right before all this hit as well. It's been a bad time. You either turn into something like this or you go out of business. Nobody wanted the spit and sawdust dimly lit drinking dens anymore. They were the ones that were disappearing. Metal sheeting over the windows, all that. Here we go, Steventon, the birthplace of Jane Austen, if you believe that. Pretty much everything around here is something to do with Jane Austen. I think she's about the only famous person we have in this region, apart from Tanita Tickerham, who is, of course, from Basingstoke as well, famously so. Who, you might say? Well, quite. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what measures. You're starting to see other European countries opening restaurants and cafes with like extreme social distancing measures. Only every other table is allowed to be occupied, and perspex screens up, and greenhouses with trestle tables on the patios and stuff. But I mean, that's quite an invasive sort of social evening, isn't it? Who's going to want to go for that, even if they're allowed to? I don't know. Anyway, up there and on the left, the Wayfarers Way continues, and there'll be another railway line sometime. Lots of people out with their families today. Can't say I blame them, they're all cooped up. Kids going mad, not being able to see their school friends or anything. Right, let's keep at it. There you go, a train. There's one. I think I've had two today. That's a different line. Yeah, that's the London Waterloo to Southampton line. Waterloo branches at Basingstoke. Goes off Winchester and Southampton Airport, I think. Yeah. So, still on the Wayfarers Walk. Trekking along. It's good. Quite hot now. It's about 20 degrees. And I can't stop thinking about pints of lemonade with ice in, which is, I think, become a Pavlovian fixation at this point of my hiking. Distinct lack of pubs selling lemonade on draft with ice today. Got water in my bag. It's probably getting a bit brackish by now. That's all good though. It's nice to be out. Yeah, so this Christmas, as a sort of, just after, as a sort of present to myself, I got myself an Oculus Rift S virtual reality headset thing. So the Rift S is the one that you have to plug into the back of a powerful gaming PC, but that's okay because I already had one of those. The Oculus Quest is the standalone one that has like a super hopped up smartphone type device inside it and doesn't need to be plugged into anything. They both share basic functionality, although PC gaming is easier on the one that connects to a PC, obviously. I think they do some kind of Wi-Fi link for the Quest. But anyway, I digress. One thing I found on there that is really good is the Google Earth VR thing. I think you're probably familiar with what Google Earth is. Online website maps, Google Maps, but the Google Earth app is a bit more elaborate and detailed. Has more in the way of 3D modelling. Can actually fly around these landscapes, and of course if you do that in VR it's very convincing and very good indeed. Anyway, so I had that and I was already quite impressed with it. But what I realised is that I could use that to retrace my steps along the southwest coast path in my living room, in my lounge, in a lockdown friendly style. So for the past, so every so often I'll spend a couple of hours doing that instead of my usual gaming or whatever. Done the first 2 weeks of it already. Mine head to Westwood Ho to Padstow. My God, Westwood Ho to Padstow was a long way. I can't quite believe I actually did that. But yeah, it takes me about 2 hours to cover the same distance as I hiked in a week. That's about 100 miles. So yeah, basically I travel around in Google Earth at about 50 miles an hour, flying above the coastline. Which is a lot easier way to do it, I have to say. Although the detail isn't quite as convincing, although it's not bad. Not bad, because you can, as you're doing your sort of over the topology, the map part of it, you can bring the other controller up to your head as if you're stuffing your face into an ice cream cone, and it drops you into the nearest street view bubble, and then you can look around in there and then pull your hand away and you go back out to the map again, and it's fantastic. So you can fly along the entire route of some long distance path. I might do the Appalachian Trail that way, because I'm probably never going to do it for real. But and then you can sort of dip in and have a look at actual photo view spheres as you go along, because various people have been doing 360 panoramic photos of their own and uploading them to Google for nothing, as a thing. A lot of them have been done by the same bloke with a black leather hat and his increasingly disgruntled looking wife/girlfriend. It's quite funny. The further you travel around the path, the more distant she's looking. But yes, I digress there. But this guy and a lot of others have been taking sort of 3D photos of bits of the path as they, promontories, rest stops. They got a thing on a stick that does 360 photo, and then they upload the map reference with it to Google, pins it to the right place on Google Earth. And it's really good. I thought about doing a preview of the week to come, the Par to Tour Cross section for the 100 miles, but I thought, that's a bit spoilery. But I could camp in my living room and then just wear the VR headset for 6 hours a day or whatever. Hiking under lockdown. But no. But it's really useful, really interesting, because obviously I was there and you guys were there to some extent as well, if you've been watching any of the videos on this stream. But that's one way to remember some of it, but also the bits I forgot and didn't video. And I'm finding that as I sort of zoom along the topology of the maps, I'm getting to various nooks and crannies and particular big valleys and thinking, oh yeah, this is the bit where I did that, or where this happened. So it's sort of helping to consolidate my own memories of my quite extensive hiking trip. Put a lot of effort and hours into that trip, I don't want to forget it. And, I'm not getting any younger. No sign of any kind of Alzheimer's or anything just yet, but as a sort of external reinforcement aid to my own holiday memories, it works really well. Very impressed. I'm very impressed with the Rift S in general. I find myself actually gaming a lot with it as well. It's not just a gimmick toy I play with a little bit and then put on a shelf and forgot about. Currently playing a lot of Fallout 4, the VR version of it. Works surprisingly well once you get the performance tweaks in. It's quite a beast performance-wise, but there's a lot of mods from Nexus Mods and wherever that can help make it run better on the headset. Skyrim VR works very well, I can recommend that, and also No Man's Sky is very good in the VR version. I've not really looked at a lot of specific VR stuff, made for VR games yet, but I'm looking forward to. Space Pirate Trainer I recommend for a bit of quick casual fun. You are Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy, more or less, and you're sort of on this hover pad, space landing pad thing with a pair of pistols in your hands, an whole load of drones just keep coming at you in different patterns. It's like a wave shooter, but it's really, really effective, really visceral. I love it. But yeah, the Google Earth thing, it's a sort of augmentation, or even as a preview, if you want to get a feel for what a particular hiking endeavour is going to be like. You don't even need the VR. The VR's nice, it makes it quite immersive, but you can do it with the desktop PC, the Google Earth application. That will give you a good impression of it all as well. I recommend that. Surprisingly good counterpoint to this kind of thing. Right, so we got a bit more to do up there, and then we're going to leave the Wayfarers Walk, which is what this is, Wayfarers Way, and start looping back around to the south of Oakley, which is over there somewhere, and then Basingstoke bound. And for the last 20 minutes I've been thinking hard, and I only came up with Liz Hurley as famous people from Basingstoke, and I don't think that was even a pointless answer, so hope you do better. You can wiki it if you like. Extreme zoom. So how are we doing anyway? We are there. That yellow road there is that road there that's actually grey in real life, so they got that wrong. Get that a lot. Yeah. So we need to go straight across there into the forest and not follow the Wayfarers Way, which diagonally zigzags through, then straight across. Excellent. Yeah, there you go. 2 metres is the size of an adult cow. Don't know, small thing far away. A lot of cars all parked up around here. There's a lot of people out walking about, enjoying the outdoors, trying not to go mad, I suppose, from stir crazy cabin fever lockdown. But that's okay. It's a big enough outdoors for everyone. Good. Motorbike chap back there was chatting to some passing hikers coming the other way, and I overheard, and he was saying that the roads are getting... Hikers were saying, oh, you must enjoy having the roads to yourself, and he was saying, oh, they're getting too busy now. So, kind of suggests that people are starting to travel a lot more again. This is the problem. The lockdown was great, and it did what it's supposed to do. It stopped, it kind of halted things in their tracks more or less, but where do we go from here? What happens next? What can be done next? How normal can we all be allowed to go back to? I mean, back at the start of it all, sort of February, March time, I remember seeing BBC experts and stuff discussing it, all medical experts about discussing government policy and strategy. And because there's no vaccine and there's not much of a treatment for it, everyone was saying herd immunity. The idea being that, assuming, and this is an assumption that's still being somewhat challenged today, that you can only catch it once, and once you get over it you're fine and won't get it again, which they're not entirely, we're not 100% sure on. That's you done then, and if we can get 60% of the population into that position where they've already had it and can't spread it and catch it anymore, then the thing sort of dies off in its tracks, because it can't jump very easily from person to person anymore, because most people have already had it. But and then life can carry on. It'll always be with us. It'll always be another kind of flu we'll have to keep an eye on, but it won't be at its current state where it's paralysing our economy and the world's economy. However, to get to that point, you have to get 60% of the people with it ill, and most people get mild symptoms. Most people don't need hospitalisation. Most people get over it and carry on, but a significant number of people don't. A significant number of people need ventilators and extensive NHS care. If that all happens at once, it crushes the NHS, which is where the big philosophy, the big slogan comes from: stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives. So the idea is to go for a sort of sawtooth approach, where you sort of let it run amok a little bit, then clamp down, then do it again and again and again in cycles. And eventually that gets us to the 60%, which is fine in theory as a mathematical exercise, but this lockdown thing is just a holding pattern. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't make the problem go away. It merely buys time. So there'll be a relaxing coming up, and probably another the thing will run rampant and start affecting people lots again, and then there'll be another lockdown, and so on until we eventually get to this herd immunity state. That's my theory. Anyway, I mean, you know, you who are watching this from the future might be able to tell me it went differently, but as far as I understand it, that's the sort of overall game plan. And you can't really say that kind of stuff on news briefings in the evening, because it tends not to give people hope much. It tends to be quite depressing. Oh, another train. So, yeah, we'll see. See what happens next. Sorry if it seems like I'm dwelling on it, but it is kind of momentous, and this is sort of a diary, so something I can look back on, hopefully, from the future and see. Yeah, oilseed, yellow oilseed there? I think so. Oilseed rape, used in the production of margarines. The tiny little black seeds come in pods after the flowers are all gone. Yeah, and more people on that distant hill there. The one's out today. It's a bank holiday tomorrow as well. I don't think I'll be doing another hike tomorrow, but that'll be a good day to... Mind you, I can spend every day, even when I'm finger quotes at work, I can still spend putting my feet up and resting my legs, because I'm doing it all from home now. I'm thinking about starting the couch to 5k again next week anyway, because I am getting too spherical. All this staying at home ready meals and snacking in absence of any other kind of pleasure that you're allowed to go out for. Yeah. So odds are I probably wouldn't have been fit enough to do the ball-breaking 100-mile stretch from Par to Torcross this week anyway. So, but then if this all hadn't been going on, I would have done more training. So yeah, who knows? What might have beens are interesting but irrelevant. So yeah, so I probably ought to start doing a bit of pavement pounding, get the old plimp soles out. Again, that's another form of permissible exercise. You're allowed to go out on your own and just run around the block or whatever, which is pretty much all I need. I don't go to a gym or anything, so that's all out. Any kind of team sports are a no-no. Most football leagues are all in suspension at the moment. And hemorrhaging money, apparently, because, you know, they'll have to pay their players, I guess. But they're not selling any tickets to matches. So. Oh, too much to relay in one short, whimsical snippet on a hiking trip. But yeah, it's all going off. But I'm strangely optimistic about it all, ultimately. I worry about myself and my immediate family, you know, one of whom might be considered in the vulnerable category when it comes to COVID-19. So I'm having to do 2 sets of shopping and leave groceries outside a door, knock and then run away, that kind of thing, which is a bit dispiriting. Still, technology helps, you know, keep in touch with phones and stuff. It's amazing how much technology has stepped up to fill the gap. You sort of wonder what this whole COVID-19 situation would have been like 30 years ago. You know, where there was basically no internet, occasional phone calls, and that was it. Now everybody's Zooming and Snapchatting and FaceTiming, and I mean, God, we've even got a Discord channel for our workplace. You know, our little work team, we're all keeping in voice contact throughout the day as we work on stuff together, collaborating. I drew the line at video chat, no one wants to see that. I haven't been to a hairdresser's in about 3 months, and I don't anticipate going anytime soon either, because that's going to be a fraught experience. I'm sat there with a bloody plexiglass welding mask on while you're got a carrier bag over your head. I don't know. So yeah, given the choice of a home haircut using the kitchen scissors and a cunning arrangement of mirrors, or just owning the mullet, I think I might go retro 80s for a bit. So we'll see. Anyway, it's all good times. Moving on. Fields of yellow. So it's all gone off a bit actually. I think their flowering season's come and gone. This is leftovers. It will be knocked off in the next strong rain. But yes, you can see the pods. This is oilseed rape. This is the little seed pod there. Inside there, small spherical seeds. I don't think they're black to begin with. I think they dry out to become black. Yeah, they look more like tiny peas. You can sort of see there. Extreme close up. No, that's nettles. There, look at that. I don't know. Autofocus zoom, whatever. Yes, they dry. They get dried in massive silos and go black, and then I think you press them. Industrial crusher, and the oil that comes out is then used in mostly margarine, I think, but probably a load of other stuff. Yeah, it's got quite a distinctive smell to it as well. It's almost like a sort of kind of cabbagey, broccoli sort of smell, but sharper. Similar kinds of fibrous leaves there. Big old cash crop. One of which sets off my allergies, I think. I don't know. I think it's grass pollen's my thing mostly, so it's not so bad at the moment. It's trees at the moment. But yeah, being just so densely mushed into the wilderness landscape, I get a bit of it, whatever. That's okay. Just hope nobody thinks it's COVIDs and mercy kills me before I get home. More pedestrians. I suppose that's what I am, really. I can't complain. Saw a load of people having a picnic up there. I'm pretty sure they weren't following social distance guidelines. Still, they know the risks. Yeah, a little leafy thoroughfare. So busy though. There's people over the edge of the fields over there. There's people there. Bike coming back behind me. Another one's going ahead. I think we're about a mile from Basingstoke now, so the outskirts. So we're out of hiking distance. We're into just casual afternoon walk to the dog distance now. So busy. So I'm looking for something on the left. Path on the left that will take me up to the railways again. And then maybe past a barrow. I'm excited. That's where the treasure is. Yeah, poignant. We can do this, and the rainbow thing. There's a scout badge in the middle. See a lot of that. Thank you NHS stuff, all in windows. Kids drawing rainbows. Symbol of the age. Who's this? More people coming. That's definitely corn. Getting quite good at identifying agriculture. Yeah, so they do this thing on Thursdays at 8 o'clock called Clap for Carers, some internet meme gone viral, gone mad or something, and now everyone goes out on their doorstep at 8 o'clock and claps into the street. It's a kind of mass thank you session for the brave work of the frontline NHS, which I agree with the sentiment, certainly, but the implementation leaves something to be desired. There's one chap who goes out there near me, who goes out every Thursday, 8 o'clock on the dot with a saucepan and a wooden spoon, bang, 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 bang. Goes on for about 5 minutes. There's people across town who let off fireworks. Seems a little poor taste to me, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Call me a grumpy old curmudgeon if you like, but it does lose some of its authenticity if it's a scheduled act of spontaneous gratitude, a weekly thing. Even the creator of the concept is suggesting that perhaps after 10 weeks it ought to stop. I think we all get the idea now, yes. Of course, many people are using this sort of Thursday 8 p.m. festival of extravagance to go out and just, hobnob and chat over backyard fences, which totally blows apart social distancing. The fact which many NHS personnel are getting quite cross about. There was a thing in the local paper of one NHS nurse who wants everyone to stop letting off fireworks, please, because it's scaring the shit out of her dog. So, one nurse there. These kinds of things do stray over into virtue signalling after a while, don't they? Still, there we go. I'm thankful, of course, but not sure how standing out in the street and shouting or clapping like a seal conveys that. It's following NHS guidelines meticulously and reducing pressure on the service. That's the way I thank them. Yes. Still, there you go. It takes all sorts. Some sort of rallying thing, really. Give people hope. Something we can all get behind, community stuff. I'm such a misanthrope. So it's about 2:30. Been going for, let's see, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. Yeah, about 5 hours now. Done about 12 miles, I think. Don't know. There's a lot less pressure on times and distances on this kind of day out. There's no particular campsite I need to reach by sunset. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been along here actually. This is about 3 miles from where I live. I've never been along this path before. Just goes to show the fractal nature of the world. You can draw any sized box and find something interesting in it. An example, let's have a look at this hedgerow here. It's 1 metre squared option. What have we got here? We've got is this some sort of hawthorn bramble. That's probably going to be berries eventually if it gets going long enough, but it's obviously been trimmed within a year or two because that's fairly green new growth. There's no big twisted tangled briars. What else? Those ones are smaller. Don't know what that means. Different sort of plant maybe. Fallen wood can tell you about the trees above. It's a wild garlic. Don't know, can't smell it. I don't know, I'm talking cobblers of course, but my point is, it doesn't matter how small an area or how familiar you are with it, you probably haven't seen all the detail it still contains. And that only applies even more so the more you zoom out, the further you try to travel. I once did a Greyhound tour of America on the old Greyhound buses, got one of those 1 month tickets. And I basically described a route which went from New York down to New Orleans, across to Los Angeles, up to San Francisco, and then back across via Chicago to New York again. I did that in 3 weeks. I ran out of money halfway around, just stayed on the bus for much of it. Saw almost nothing of America, and yet covered most of it. So, goes to show, I suppose. I've forgotten what I was talking about now as well, so I'm just going to keep walking for a bit. It's probably the heat. I'm running out of water. I only bought 1 bottle, 1 litre for today, which was foolish perhaps. Oh, there's enough to get me home, but 2 would have been better. Figured I wouldn't need as much because it wasn't so much weight and not so much hill climbing and stuff, but it's still warm. It's still challenging in its own little way. There we go. Basingstoke, city of magic, illusions, dreams and mystery. Once mentioned in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Super busy. People up and down that footpath there. Now I go across here. Which, yeah, is a pedestrian crossing on a train line. Ooh. Do you reckon, can I beat it? They are hooting specifically for pedestrian benefit here. There's probably a sign up there saying hoot. I think I might wait. Seems prudent. What if I got my foot stuck? It's the stuff of nightmares. Here it comes. Hey! Don't reckon my corpse would inconvenience that at all. Right, go. The electric rail passes under on a cable, so I'm alright for that. Just don't hang around. And here we go, down the other side, across the field next, I think. Let's go. And again. Stop, look and listen. Beware of trains. Seems okay, but it could be a trap. Gonna risk it. Nope, we're alright. Okay, and then across there, and apparently the barrow is somewhere in the field up there. Looks suspiciously flat to me. Shall see when we get there. Right, so I reckon I am there, on the path next to White Barrow. And looking up, all I can see is that ring of trees, roughly where the barrow ought to be. This is not my first rodeo. Alright, let's go and have a wander, see what we can see in those trees. Who's for some tomb raiding? Yeah, I mean I don't have the shorts, but you know, we can make do. I don't have the guns, or the homicidal attitude towards wildlife, or the gymnastic skills, or any of it really. Blundering enthusiasm really is all I got. Let's go and have a look. Surprisingly, no one on the path. There have been people all around this place. I mean, you can see Basingstoke, it sort of stretches from there, up on the hill, all the way across and round and beyond. I mean, it's a huge place, with surprisingly little in it. Anyway, let's go and see what's in these trees, see if we can do a bit of archaeology before some farmer comes along and encourages me to leave with the 12 bore. I think that's probably a stereotype. I've almost never been shot at by a farmer with a 12 bore before. And I've trespassed on quite a bit of agricultural land in my time. Let's see what we got here. Oh, it's definitely a raised hill, yeah. It's trees have been allowed to grow for a considerable amount of time on top. Probably 20 years worth of growth, those. It's not huge trunks, not hundreds of years, but those are oaks. That one's an oak. That one's a sycamore, maybe? I don't know. Let's have a little look inside. Check me out, I'm being all intrepid and shit. Right. Oh, hello. Bivouac there. Someone's been living here recently. Well, not so long ago. I was expecting a lot more giant stones with whirly symbols on, to be honest. I've raided my fair share of barrows in my time. Admittedly, all of those were inside computer games, but yeah, someone's fashioned a kind of bijou hideaway. Probably kids. Shame, I thought these were like fencing off a deep shaft into the excavation or something, but nope, nothing here. Some bit of digging there, but that's probably rabbits, badgers, whatever. Wildlife, not tomb raiders. So I've detoured from the path and I don't even have a goblet or a talk to show for it. I don't know, maybe there's local Googling that can be done. Look for White Barrow near Oakley, see what you find. Not going to find much up here on the primary site myself, not without significantly more earth moving equipment than I have. So it's quite pleasant in here. Could see why someone would have set up a rudimentary camp. Very rudimentary, there's no roof there at all. Kids playing at it rather than countryside tramps living it. Right, let's get out of here then, crack on. See, my body's telling me I need an ice cream now, but my brain is telling me that they're all going to be shut. So, ow, 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 ow. Oh, whiplash straight across the nipple. Ow, 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 ow. Right, well, there's a souvenir to remember it by. Back to the path. It's not a day out hiking without a section where you get to trudge along a dangerously busy B road with no footpath. Still, Sunday and COVID, hopefully I won't get knocked down. There's a footpath at the top of the hill I intend to pick up. Yes. I just throw myself into the hedge whenever cars come. Should just walk along the inside of that field, to be honest, that would be smarter. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Nearly back. Yeah, there we go. Much less likely to get murdered by a car. Do that. Jump through the hedge at the appropriate moment at the top. Sorted. Yeah, just one more hill and we'll be down into Worthing, which is one of the most outermost outskirts of Basingstoke. I got a couple more miles to go to get home, but probably drop you guys off at the edge of the town. It's been nice though. It's been a good day. You know, even though it is basically my backyard instead of the majestic South Cornish coast and Devon. I'll catch up with that later. Devon cannot elude me forever. It's not very mobile for a start. Yeah. All done and dusted by 4, I reckon. Put my feet up. Oh, I got a load of fruit cider in the fridge. So, sort of oldie knockoff version of that Copperberg stuff. Should be quite good. A couple of cans of that, feet up. Splendid. Actually, as I think about it, follow this road far enough along and into town, and there's a Shell garage that might be open and might have ice creams. So I could pretend I'm in Cornwall. Do it through the night till, social distancing and all that. Bang, 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 give me ice cream. Yeah, splendid. Day's looking up. And there you go. Here we are, the edge of madness, edge of darkness. Twinned with Alençon, Braine-l'Alleud in Belgium and Euskirchen in Germany. Euskirchen? No. I vaguely heard of Alençon and Euskirchen, but I didn't even know about the Belgian one. I can only imagine Alençon and Euskirchen are towns of similar renown and prominence in their respective countries. We didn't get like San Diego or Hamburg or anything. Yeah, there I am, across the line. And possibly stuck this side of the hedge because it's now gone all brambly. It's a knotty problem. So pretty much as soon as you cross the line to Basingstoke, brambles start. I mean, that says it all, really. Right, I'm going to try and find a way forward and through and up here. And onward. Here we are. The edge of Basingstoke proper. Going to cross the railway again in a minute under that tunnel. And then there should be an ice cream and some fizzy drink the other side somewhere. Another train. There's loads of trains today. What are people going on about? So I'm going to stop here. I'll leave you here. I've got to go and hobble off back to my house, across town from here. Not too bad. Achy feet. Got a bit of a proto blister on the ball of the left and the top of my right toes. Got a bit of a twinge on the back of my right thigh. Feels like a bit of a minor pull. That's okay. Aches and not injuries, as we say. So yeah, there you go. About 12 miles in about 5 hours, something like that. Don't know, who's keeping track? Not me. Yes. So yeah, thanks for coming with me on this patently placeholder hiking video. And sorry about the global pandemic. I'll try and do harder for September. Yeah, I was planning on doing 3 this year. That ain't gonna happen. Be lucky if I get 1. But hopefully things will have picked up in September and things will be relaxed a bit more, so that it's a bit more normal. Long distance train travel being allowed, pubs and B&Bs and stuff being allowed, that kind of thing, with precautions I imagine. But yeah, still we go on. Look at that, busy roads, people out and about. We're just all giving each other more of a wide berth than before, that's all. So yeah, be safe, take care of yourselves and each other, and hopefully see you in September in Parr in Cornwall. Toodle pip.